Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Move with the Caravan with Jim Powers. I'm here with Jim Powers. Jim, here we are, man. We're wrapping this whole thing up.
Yeah, I mean, state championship this weekend for Class 6, and then everybody's in semis, and then we finish up football season next week, and basketball started this week, and we still got one more regular season game, Turkey Day, coming up, and so yeah, it's hard to believe the football season's nearly over with, and then we turn our attention to basketball.
That's right. I mean, I'm a little happy about that, but at the same time, it's sad because, such great football is going to be done with. And, then you got to wait around until next year. We've had some really, really good football games, matchups this season. It's been a lot of fun to see how those have turned out. You mentioned the Class 6 state championship game this weekend. We got CBC. They won over Liberty North 46-21 last week, and they're going to be playing Lee Summit North, who defeated DeSmet 33-6. Jim, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, and this is another rematch for CBC. They beat Lee Summit North in the semis last year, before they beat Liberty North. So it's kind of reversed this year. Lee Summit North is really talented. They've got a great dual quarterbacks, that play a lot, even Steven pretty much. Defensively, they're as sound as you're going to get. I mean, this is going to be a fun game. CBC, Jeremiah Love is coming into his own right now. He had 3 touchdowns, last weekend in the win out at Liberty North, which they had to scratch and claw a little bit in the first quarter. But then they got McClone loose. The defense finally got some things going in the second half. I'm telling you, this game is going to be ball control all over the place. The weather forecast is not happy on Saturday whatsoever. You're talking pretty much steady rain in the afternoon at Furrow Field. About temperature, I think it's going to top out at 41 degrees. And so ball control is going to be key in this game. And it'll be interesting to see which rushing attack is going to take home the state championship.
I agree, and I pulled for all the St. Louis schools. I was hoping to see all St. Louis, but I think CBC's got this one in the bag. It is going to be a tough game, though.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Lee Summit North had a chance to talk to their coach yesterday, leading into Saturday. And the one thing that he said was, we learned a lot last year. This we got to remember. Lee Summit North led this game until the middle of the fourth quarter, when Patrick Hyde had basically put the cadets on his shoulders and said, I'm going to get us there. And, they learned a lot from that game last year. And the confidence is they can play with CBC. They can hang with them. And this is a little bit of a different team than what last year was for CBC, but they still have the same thing, and they're still really good.
Yeah, they are really, really good. So they're going to be the class. They're going to be the only state championship game. Other classes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're going to be playing their state semifinals. So we'll go to Class 3, where we have Cardinal Ritter. They're going to be playing Pleasant Hill. Cardinal Ritter defeated Park Hill Central 36-22 in a game that was really, really kind of close there for a little bit. And Pleasant Hill defeated Maryville 43-28. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have Sullivan playing Reed Spring. Sullivan defeated St. Charles West 24-10, while Reed Spring defeated Boonville 21-7. So, Jim, what do you think about the semifinals?
I really think in 3, it's Ritter's to win. I think they're the class, the class of Class 3. They did a terrific job this past weekend. It's not going. Pleasant Hill's not going to be a pushover, but once again, I don't think Pleasant Hill is seeing what Cardinal Ritter is going to throw at you. So I think this is for Cardinal Ritter. They've got it right there in front of them. They just can't look ahead to next week. They've got to stay forward, stay motivated, and get the job done. But out of those 4, Sullivan's had a great year. Reed Spring has been really good the last couple of years. Cardinal Ritter has got this. And you mentioned about CBC having it in the bag. I just can't see any of those 3 being able to stop what Cardinal Ritter's got going right now.
I don't either. And they can play with any Class 4, 5, or 6 school in the state. They've proved it. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to be holding the trophy come next week.
No doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I just, once again, it's just weather's going to be a key once again in that matchup. But gosh, they're just so good. I mean, just skilled positions. They're really good.
Yeah. To talk about a couple other good matchups in Class 4, we have St. Mary's taking on Smithville. St. Mary's defeated Hillsboro 55-34 in their matchup last week in the quarterfinals, while Smithville defeated Center Kansas City 20-0. And on the other side of the bracket, we have St. Dominic taking on West Plains. St. Dominic defeated Parkway Central 29-0, while West Plains defeated Hannibal 29-14. So, Jim, we know we have St. Mary's. They've kind of been the cream of the crop. Hillsboro was a tough out. We were all kind of maybe rooting a little bit for Hillsboro to make that run, but the Smithville's definitely a tough matchup.
Oh, this is not a good draw for St. Mary's. It really isn't. And when you saw how everything was going to shake out, you knew that this was a possibility. Smithville is really good. And you remember, they're the defending state champs from last year. They beat Hannibal in the state title game. They're very fundamentally sound. And they know what speed is all about because they really play a tough schedule out in the Kansas City side. So this is, honestly, I wish this was the state championship game. But once again, we're seeing it in the semifinal. It's going to be a terrific, terrific ball game. Over on the other side, St. Dom's has got somebody back in first touch, 41 yards and a touchdown in Jackson Overton. I mean, he hasn't played all year. Give him the ball 41 yards later, touchdown. West Plains is a really good team. They beat Hannibal. They give Camdenton and Lebanon fits every year. So this is a toss-up to me. The one factor that I think goes in St. Dom's favor is they get to host that game. So having the home field advantage, so to say, and plus having Jackson back, that's huge. I will say this: if he plays all year long, they're probably undefeated, and they're ranked right behind St. Mary's. But yeah, they're really good. And if Jackson can get things going, watch out. We could see a St. Louis final next week at Faroe.
Hey, fingers crossed, because I want to see St. Mary's, given all the things that they've had to deal with their school and everything else. And then on top of that, just knowing, Coach Markway at St. Dominic and how good of a guy he does, how hard he works. I'm kind of rooting for that matchup as well, and then just kind of see where everything falls.
Yeah, well, without a doubt. Two great coaches. Coach Turner's has done a terrific job at St. Mary's, and yeah, you got to root for them. But I root for St. Dom's because obviously, AAA conference and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see. But I like the chances both ways, especially now with the Crusaders having Overton back.
Absolutely. And then in Class 5, our first matchup is Cape Central taking on Fort Osage. Cape Central defeating MICDS, and I thought would be kind of an upset game, 14-10. And then Fort Osage taking care of business, beating Grain Valley 29-10 last week. The other side of the bracket, we have Francis Howell taking on Carthage. Francis Howell beating Timberland 49-18, while Carthage defeated Lebanon 35-14. So you said it all year. If you win Class 5, you're the best team in the state. Jim, what do we think about these matchups?
Look at the carnage. I mean, seriously, look. I mean, you got an MICDS team that gets bounced. Cape Central, we haven't talked about them all year long, but they're having a great season. That's going to be a great matchup on that side. But I'm telling you, use the old wrestling reference. The cage match is happening down in Carthage on Saturday afternoon at 1:00. Number 1, number 2. That's how they've been ranked all year long. This is going to be a knockdown, drag out, backyard brawl. Two teams that are very physical, two teams that have different offenses that you can throw out at any given time. They got two terrific defenses. Their offensive lines are terrific. Defensive lines are terrific. I give the edge to Howell because they're on a mission. And I think the play of Adam Shipley all year long has been terrific. I think he's done a wonderful job in managing the offense, doing things. He's not only throwing the ball, he's running the ball as well. And he had a couple big runs last week in the Timberland win. So I give the slight advantage to Howell, even though they are traveling 4 hours down south. Carthage, I mean, the atmosphere of Carthage is going to be out of this world. It's going to be insane in that. But honestly, no offense to the other two teams, this is your state championship game in 5. I honestly believe this. Like I said, they've been 1 and 2 in the state all year long. I can't see any reason why the winner of this game doesn't come out and win next weekend out at Faroe.
Yeah, and the only thing you really wish was that this was the state championship game.
Without a doubt.
Week. Yeah.
Yeah, and once again, with the rotation of the brackets and all that kind of stuff, and if you had a chance to listen to the podcast this week, Lou Mazzocco had him on, and he explained how the brackets and how everything rotates every year. That way, we don't see an all St. Louis matchup, an all Kansas City matchup. You're seeing the different teams, and yeah, it's unfortunate that we don't have 1 and 2 matching up in the state championship game, but we'll take the semifinal in what's going to be a terrific, terrific game on Saturday afternoon.
100% agree. Jim, what do we have going on Scoops this week?
We got, Turkey Day. We'll wrap up Turkey Day, and then we'll preview a lot of the semifinal games, and then we're going to start making a transition over to basketball next week, since basketball season's starting, and get everybody ready to go for what I think is going to be an outstanding basketball season. I think this year is going to be a lot of fun to follow.
I agree, man. If it's anything like football and the fall sports that we've had with great volleyball, I mean, we're destined for some really good basketball here this winter. Jim, it's been great. We had to kind of cut it short because of Turkey Day activities and this week and the holiday. So appreciate your time for taking with us and talk about these games. And I look forward to it next week, man.
Absolutely. Hey, have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the turkey and get a little bit of rest and quit practicing at 7 o'clock at night. McVey's getting mad.
Well, he can get over it. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of On the Move with the Caravan football preview. Jim Powers. We will be back next week. You guys have a great one.
Tune in for new episodes of Coach's Box each week on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, or the Streamline Sports app. And you can also listen to our show on Apple Podcasts, Google, and Spotify. This episode of On the Move with the Caravan football preview with Jim Powers is brought to you by Scoops with Danny Mack and Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.